afternoon. Welcome to Embedded class. Uh, uh, Last class we were discussing about the modeling, computational modeling in embedded systems, right? And out of which we discussed both DFG, controlled DFG, and state machine model. Sorry, unfortunately, the last class video not got recorded, and it takes me once again an hour of time to re-record. If you really need it, then I'll put it in a WhatsApp message that I'll re-record the lecture. If you say no, sir, it's okay with PPTs, we can able to understand. If you okay with the PPTs, then I'll leave it on your part. Okay, let me know uh, what's your wish regarding that. So now, in the last class, we were discussing about the state machine model. Under the state machine model, we covered the definition of state machine model followed by the two important examples. One is automatic seatbelt warning system, and another one we developed like coffee vending or tea vending machine. We understood how to write the state machine model for that, and probably you got to know that how you can initiate the programming perspective for those two examples. Now, in the last class, I also gave one small assignment for you guys to design a state machine model for coin operated telephone system. Okay, I hope you might have you might have made an attempt to design the same. Now, let me look through that particular example once again in this class, and we'll try to understand how actually we can model the state machine model. And you can try or you can make an attempt writing the C programming for these three different models, so that could be a very good a mini kind of mini project, and you can in fact you can showcase this in your and make a report, and you can publish even small in a small conference or journal. And you can, if you be prepared with such reports, that will be a great impact in your the placements, especially because you, if you observe the kind of companies that we SDM get a lot, maybe a Continental or a Bosch or the KPIT and the Mercedes Benz. So all these, the Delphi, all these companies are working with respect to automotive system. And definitely, if you in the technical round, if you showcase these kinds of project that you did, and if you could able to publish, and getting of selection chances, you are increasing. That's it. So again, it is a probability. It doesn't mean that today if you do it, definitely will into that particular domain or a particular company, but increasing the probability, what I'm trying to say here. Okay. I think till today I have uploaded all the lecture materials except Mondays. Am I right? Almost all lecture series have been uploaded except the Monday series. Let me check once again if I have not uploaded. And that's what I told, like if you want to upload the Monday series lecture also, I will re-record and I will upload, for which I need once again a little bit of time, and then let me think of that. Okay, let's continue with the next session. As I rightly pointing out, make sure write some C programming. It's a very simple and not that difficult because you guys are very good at logical thinking. In a very few labs, I saw your strength in programming. Maybe in DSP lab we met for a week or so. That's it. And even in embedded systems, I met you guys for 1 week or 2 weeks. And that sense, I many of students have that programming strength, good logical thinking. You have a greater strength, guys. Utilize it. ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? So, however, the steel might be very good strength if you don't retain it properly. If you don't use it properly, the steel gets rusted, right? So, rusting is nothing but losing its strength, right? The steel is such a great strength it is having. Now only thing is it has to be maintained properly. How? Just by painting or giving that cleaning those rust again and again. Okay, here the cleaning of rust is nothing but updating in your subjects. That's it. Okay, don't let it down. And you still are at younger stage, you have a greater strength, as I already saw you guys in the regular class. Okay, okay, today we'll discuss the next problem statement. So this was the problem statement that we were discussing, that design a coin operated a public telephone unit based on a finite state machine model for following requirements. Yes, we have discussed these specifications in the last class itself. Now, today we'll directly look into the finite state model for coin operated telephone booth. Okay. Now we need to what is that? Assign the states for this. So parallelly, I'll explain which all the states that I try to assign and what the states define about. Now the first state, yes, obviously it should be a ready state, no matter. Then from the ready state, now event has to be happen. Like in case of coin operated telephone booth, what event you can expect in the first initial state? It is nothing but lifting of your receiver, right? So the first event might be a event, it is that is lifting the receiver. Then I say that it will move to the next state. What is the second state? Now in the B state, or state B is nothing but it try to wait for a coin to be inserted in the telephone booth, right? Now once I insert the coin, now the event is what? In being in a state B, what event that you try to expect? It's nothing but insertion of coin. Now the next state, I insert the coin. Now once I insert the coin, next I need to move from state B to next state, that is C, right? So assume that the flow is in a proper way. Like I lift the receiver, I insert the coin. Now everything is correct. I dial the number. Even the number is also, the number dialed is also correct. It is not invalid number. It is valid number. Then again, line is very clear. It connects to the destination number. Then I take a 60 minutes of time, 60 seconds of time, I'm sorry, and then I will finish up the call. This is how initially I have designed the I made these animation, not design, I made it this animation so that you can understand in a much better way. So in the state C, what is this state C? It is nothing but here I inserted the coin in a state B. Now I am moving to the next state. Now what is the next process? Now I need to dial the number, right? So it is nothing but in the state C, it is the system is waiting for a valid number, right? So here there are two possibilities. One is it is waiting for the number. Another one is if it is a valid number, or unfortunately you might have dialed the invalid number. That's what I gave an example in the last class. The 10 digits of mobile number maybe sometimes 9 digits or 11 digits of mobile number, right? There are possibilities, because once I design the system, I need to take out the worst case conditions also. So that's how the system develops, right? So once again, now let me take that the number is valid. Okay, from state C, I assume that the event that has happened here is a valid number. Now what is to be done? So okay, I need to get the dial tone, right? Yeah, now the action is dial tone, and now assume that the line is also get connected, and now what is the action to be done? So okay, once the line is connected, now a D state is nothing but dialing tone I am receiving. Okay, now it is line available. Now once the line is available, then I move to E state. So in this, there might be another chance also. What is the worst case possibility? Okay, line may be busy, right? So if I dial the correct number, okay, I'll just repeat. So if I dial the number, so this is D for dialing the stage. Now there are two possibilities. One is I may connect with a line, or so the line may be busy, right? So if line is busy, let us see what we have to do. Now let us assume that this case is satisfied. So now the event E is what? So now in the event, it is nothing but the event E, or the state E is giving me that call is in progress, right? For how many seconds it has to be in progress? The call is in progress for how many seconds? The action, or what action you need to take here? So check, or keep one counter where the counter counts from 60 down to 0. So you need to keep that, you need to monitor that, whether the moment I leave line is connected, so make sure that the line is available for only 60 seconds. That's it. Okay, now after this call is in progress, now again from state E, there might be two possible cases. What are those? One is timeout. So soon after 60 seconds, the time is out. Then what is, or within 60 seconds, I may finish my talk, right? So in this case, now assume that this case has happened, timeout. Then what is to be the action to be taken here? I should disconnect the line, the system, whatever the you are trying to create an automated telephone system. Now it has to disconnect. So state F is nothing but call terminated state, right? So this is a termination state. Now from here, once I terminate, so what is to be done? So I need to place the receiver back, right? So from here, state F, I should move back to state A, so stating that keep the receiver back. That's it. So or else from E, now what is to be done? So I place the receiver within 60 seconds. Then once again the action is disconnect the line. Both are fine. See, from E, I may completely use the 60 seconds. After 60 seconds, the system has to think that it has to disconnect the line, because the maximum time is given to the caller. Then automatically it will move to F state, and F state is nothing but a terminate state. Then from here it has to send the termination message, so that I keep my receiver back. That's it. So now coming to the special cases, I call it as special case. What? From C, as I told you, from in the state C, which is that, so waiting for number, so it is waiting for the number, right? So while waiting, I need to dial the number. We already looked into the case where the entered number is a valid number. But now I should also check for the other case, where the case 2 is if I enter the invalid number, what the system has to take the action. So this is how, see here, if you observe these, is it not something like I'm feeding the intelligence here to the system? That's quite possible. Nowadays we are calling that artificial intelligence, but from many days it is there, that feeding of the intelligence. Now again, the kind of feeding of intelligence here, if a number is invalid, now I'll say that I consider that case to be H, wherein I need to display error message. Okay, now after this I need to what I need to get back my coin, because I think that let me place the receiver back and return the coin, because the call is not connected, it is incorrect, it is disconnected in a midway itself. Now this is one circle or one cycle. Now another case from state D, where state D was referring for a dialing state. Now assume that if there is a busy line is busy, or if there is a phone is out of order kind of thing, then from D it will move to another state called G, and I need to display this message kind, like display a message like line is busy. Now once again, okay, the user, assume that the user will place back his receiver, then I need to return the coin. This is what the event and the action that is going to happen from state G. What is this state G? It is nothing but unable to make a call. What about H? H is due to invalid input, and G is unable to make a call because of the line busy. So once again, here also I'll place the receiver, I need to get the coin back, right? So this is a complete state flow or a finite state model for a coin operated. Once again, there is thing, assume that the system itself is a failed, the telephone booth itself is in a false state, or it is itself is not working. So I have considered that also, that is last state I, out of order, because it so happen like I use a public telephone booth, sometimes that booth phone itself is out of order. So that's where I consider this case. So what is to be done? So the moment I lift the receiver, it has to display the message like error, right? Or give some display. Here there is no sufficient space, that's why I have not written anything here. Please go through the textbook, or you can just listen. So event is line fault, out of order. Okay, from state I it has to come back to B, A itself, I to A. So now the moment I keep the receiver, place the receiver, or event is place the receiver, action is done. That's it. Okay, very simple and straightforward. So I hope this coin operated telephone system is understood for you guys in a perfect way. You think even while practicing, you need to practice in the same situation, so that you can remember this state diagram very easily, right? So now let us discuss the states here. The state A was ready state. So the here itself I wanted to put, due to insufficient space I make it separate slide, but this is once again concerned with the previous topic itself. State A, we call it as a ready state. State B, what is that? Here I am waiting for the coin. So once the coin is inserted, so I wait for the proper number. If assume that the number is valid, so here one more, like valid number or invalid number. Invalid number. Now state D is it is trying to dial a proper number, and once it is dialed, then call is in progress for 60 seconds, state E. And next is termination, right? From here it may be timed out process, or within 60 seconds I may end up the call. So if I assume that if I use a complete 60 seconds and automatically it has to turn off, then I say that it is a call terminated. Just a minute. Am I there? Is my screen is visible to all?
Yes, sir, visible.
Okay, thank you. So these are the different states that we have been discussed in the state model, FSM model. The same thing I noted there, that what is A, B, C, D and all that. Okay, it's just nothing but the definitions of individual states. Now, moving to the next topic, sequential program model. What is this? So once we have designed FSM, finite state machine, so this speaks about something like a design perspective. Now if I want to implement that, then the implementation process may be something like writing a program. Maybe it is a C programming, or you can go for HDL programming or C++ programming, or even through the Python programming. Any programming you consider. Ultimately, we go for, first we make an attempt of sequential programming model. When I say that sequential programming model, let us restrict, okay, as of now, C programming here. Now, how do you design, or how do you see, one part is design part, that is FSM part, we call it as a design part. Then implementation part is nothing but a C programming. Then implementing C programming onto the hardware, maybe a Raspberry Pi, or maybe a any of the high-end microcontroller. Now that complete writing a C programming and downloading onto the kit, that particular complete thing we call it as a implementation process. Okay, now as we understood the FSM approach that represents the states, events and transition actions, etc. In the bean of flowchart model, now it is the time to develop a sequential model. So as an example, we have considered here once again seat belt warning example. Okay, so now we say that whether the seat belt is fastened or not, that is to be checked first. That's what the main objective here. If the seat belt is not fastened, then I need to give an alarm signal. When to give this alarm signal? So first we assume that the driver is into the vehicle. I need to give you some breathing time of 10 seconds. Then check whether ignition is on or not. If ignition is on, then once again make sure that alarm of seat fastened should be on for 5 seconds if he has not fastened the seat belt. So this is a simple program. Now I need to define, because how do you check that the ignition is on or not, right? We need to understand that part, right? So what we have done here is, if the and both two cases, one is seat belt is fastened or not, yes or no, right? Yes or no. Okay, now ignition is on or not, so that's where. So here we are trying to define this on. Which is this on? It indicates that ignition is on. Okay, or I say that, okay, ignition key is on or not. So if it is on, then I cannot write like a C programming. See, ultimately it has to be in some numeric analogy. So that's where we are trying to define it as a logic one, or one, simply one. Now if it is off, what is this off? Ignition key is off, then it is defined as 0. Same thing, if I fasten the seat belt, then that particular point is called as yes. That is what yes belongs to fastening of the seat belt. If I don't wear the seat belt, then it is no, and that is defined as 0. Okay, now I'm using on, off, yes, no in place of and if I use on, it is nothing but 1. If I use off, it is nothing but 0. That's what the meaning here. Now, okay, now I write a simple small function, seat belt warning. Yes, obviously I will check for 10 seconds. Now this is once again a function. You need to write a separate function definition for this, waiting for so where it is nothing but a simple for loop, right? Which makes a count equivalent to 10 seconds. Now after this, now I need to check. After this, I need to check what is ignition key is on. Okay, if this is true, I need to set the alarm if and only if he has not fastened the seat belt. So that is if it is equal to off. Okay, so here I set the timer, so start alarm. So I'm trying to feed that value here. Okay, once again it is nothing but a small function, set timer and start alarm. So there are two functions. One is alarm, buzzer should be on, so this is a actuator. Okay, buzzer is an actuator here, and apart from that it has to monitor the timing. So because the buzzer should be on for only 5 seconds, so hence two functions we have wrote. So now you need to develop a definition of function that is for timer, once again a for loop. Okay, now set the alarm, it is nothing but a buzzer. So you know that you have already written how to turn on and turn off the buzzer, because by looking into the what is that PDF or what we call it as the hardware manual sheet, you can understand to which pin. Say for example, I'm using ARM7 TDMI architecture. Now you need to understand from which pin it is connected to buzzer and you need to activate that pin. That's it. So that is what the definition of start alarm here. Okay, then this is also a simple function that it has to be done. So this is not a complete code. This is what we call it as a pseudo code. Okay, now once it is done, now before stopping the alarm, you have to check the three important conditions. What? So whether timer is ruled out its timing, so soon after the 5 seconds it has to be, or within 5 seconds the driver may fasten the seat belt, or I may turn off the ignition key. So this process should repeat. This, please observe here, I have inserted a semicolon. The reason is this particular loop will be kind of wait state, right? It is nothing but a wait state. So if any one of these goes wrong, then I go for stop alarm process. That is, if while seat belt is off and while seat belt is ignition key is off and when time is expired, no, then it will be in a wait state. Once a seat belt is on, key is on, timer expires, then stop the alarm. That's it. A very simple and straightforward pseudo code here. If I put it in a same, what is that, flowchart model, then this is how I sequential model, because why I'm trying to say this is because soon after I'll split this flow chart so that I can able to differentiate as an individual task and try to make them execute concurrently. Let us see that once we are after understanding this part. So here key is on. Now it has to wait for 10 seconds, asking the driver, giving him a breathing time. Then is after 10 seconds, once again I'll check. Once again you have to check, because within that if he he may turn off the ignition key. That's the reason why once again I need to check the whether key is on or not. If it is true, then seat belt on. Okay. If it is true, then no alarm is required. End the process. But if seat belt is not on, which is nothing but no, then set the timer for the 5 seconds. Once again, you have to check what is the key is on. Yes, because within that time also the driver might have turned off the key. So that is also very important. Once again, I'll check the ignition on. Then uh, if seat belt is on, okay, no issues. If seat belt is not on, then buzzer will be on here itself. I need to take that timer expired is nothing but here itself you can consider buzzer is on. Then once the time expires, then what? If it has to be stop the alarm. If time is not expired, again you check ignition on, seat belt on, and this should be in a some loop. Okay. So this is how the flow chart has been developed for sequential program model for a seatbelt warning system. Now we have a one more topic like concurrent communication process or concurrent model, where we try to divide a piece of task because this waiting is really independent. I can make it separately running because of it is not something like after this process itself I need to check the key, right? So what we do is we split the task like one task for timer waiting for a 10 seconds, one separate task. Next, and separate task key is status is on, one separate task. So this is T1 and this is T2. Of course, T2 task is depending upon the T1, no doubt, but still it is possible for making them to split and make them to work concurrently. So the waiting of the system will be very fraction of time, but here the waiting of time is too much. Now T3 is the task 3, which is nothing but I am trying to split the C programs in an individual way. That's it. See, here you can consider this as a task, or even in your operating system we call them as a process, P1, P2, P3 as such. Okay, sometimes there will be a dependency of individual process because until and unless a completion of process 1, process 2 cannot be executed, right? So same thing here also, we are trying to split the systems into small pieces so that the processor execution will be much faster. That's it. So once this is done, one more task is for, okay, we have to check whether the seat belt status is on or not, monitoring the task of seat belt. Then if this is true, then I go for from T3. See, if this is true, I mean seat belt is not fastened, then T3, T4 is depending upon T3, right? Then task the that is starting or stopping of the alarm. Then alarm should be wait for 5 seconds. So once again we have two different for loops for these two. Now this is where how we try to split the task into the different C programming. One is waiting the timer. Okay, so this is task 1. Okay, now task 2 is what? Task 2 is this. Okay, task 3 is alarm control. Okay, seat belt status. This is task 3 and this is task 4 and this is task 5. Okay, you can see that the arrow mark. Once a event is expired, I give it to here. So expire aitu, then it will check. It will check whether this is on or off. So E is on or not. The once again task 2 will run. So task 2 will give the information to task 3. Okay, belt status. Sorry. Okay, now the time is expired. Now once again it check for the ignition on and belt. Now this is based upon the task 2. Now task 2 will give the information stating that it is on or off. So if it is on, then once again I need to check the seat belt condition. Once again this is also depending upon T3. So T4 is depending upon T2 and T3. So once again this information will be moving from here to here. Okay, so once again star if seat belt is fast off, then I set the alarm. So from here itself job is switched to T5. Okay, and then this will be continuously monitoring for 5 seconds. Again at the same time event time is expire, it has to check the condition like ignition is off or seat belt is on, so or timer is off or on. Okay, so this is how we try to split the individual task, and we try to make sure that we can able to work in a individual core, because nowadays we have a multiple cores and we try to execute the individual task, different task on the individual cores. If any task is requested, if any task is dependency, then that particular task will be waiting for some time for to get executed completely. So the last topic of this is object oriented model. So what is object oriented model? So best example for object oriented programming is C++ and Java, as we call them as a object oriented programming. Why we call that is object oriented model is best suited for this kind of modeling requirements, where majority of these works are splitted into individual or decimated into small pieces of code. A big complex code or a big complex software requirement can be decimated into simple well defined pieces. So that is the advantage of object oriented programming, and because of small pieces, it is always possible for me to redesign or reuse it for some other programming also, and maintainability is very easy, so it increases the productivity of the system. So these are the few advantages of object oriented and object oriented programming. Example is C++ and Java, whereas this part is not suited in what C programming. Okay, so this is all about uh, 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 data flow model. It is hardware, software, co-design and programming model. So I hope you understand this program because of this previous. I wanted to do a animate. Sorry, unfortunately, I forgot that because of some work. So if you still require, I'll explain this part in once again if you have not understood, or else it's just go through once. It's very easy, not as tough what you assume. Okay. So this is all about the hardware software co-design. In the next class, we will go for the last topic of this unit, that is embedded firmware development program languages. Okay, so this may take another 2 classes to complete the unit. I'll come back to chat room. If you have any doubts, please let me know.